Harvard Divinity School.
Uses and abuses of power in alternative spiritualities. Implications for spiritual care of patients and communities. April 29th, 2023.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a great pleasure. To be in front of you, all of you. And thank you for introduction. This is Dilşa Deniz. I'm a Kurdish scholar. And presently I'm working on this book project. Actually, I'm just trying to tell a part of my book project right now. So the Kurds, I don't know how many of you have any information about the Kurds. Kurds are over 50 million people. Actually, some recent sources says like whole world is 70 million and without any state. So if you don't have any state, so then you have difficulty to explain who you are. So I'm trying to, going to tell something about it. First, I would like to, because myself, I always like to see the visually context what I'm going to build on it. So I think many people maybe like me. So I will start first to show some image of her, and then I will talk about later. So, okay, this is her. And like every Kurdish child, maybe recently we don't have that, but we just born into houses that we actually saw her on our walls. Maybe she was the only like image on the walls that we see as a decoration in our house. Maybe it wasn't decoration at all. So later realizing of that. So you see, she's like a kind of androgyne form and between human and animal, male and female. And therefore, like if you think that women is like symbol of fertility and like snake is like a symbol of sort of poison. So all these like dualities you can see on her image actually. So there are lots of like paintings, embroidery, like wood carving and lots of things. It's actually as a kind of sector, used to be a kind of sector that craftsmen actually just make their earning on her image too. So there are lots of things going on in there. So you see always she's there, colors, but something changing, but something not changing on her image. Yeah. Yeah, I would say here a little bit, and then this is like jewelry, is a kind of ring. It's called like Shâmaran's ring. So you see like there are like three like dimensions of it, and there's like a circle in middle of everything. This is actually very important, and I don't know how many of you are aware of the goddess studies. So it's like triangle, number of three is a symbol of the goddess because it's a symbol of triangle of the pubic area of females. That's how it comes actually. So first, when I started to work on it, I don't know why, from my childhood until I was involved in women movements. So we are trying to publish a feminist Kurdish women magazine, and we're like talking about what kind of name we should use. And then I offered like her name. I don't know why, just came out. And then actually we didn't end up with her name, but later when we formed women NGO that dealing with the domestic and sexual violence against women. So, and I offered again, and then ended up to use her name. Actually, there's another NGO using her name right now who dealing with the domestic and sexual violence against women. So something in her when I was doing my PhD in imagology course. So I wanted to do something on an image. So her name was again what there. So I just started to work on it. It was amazing. I was really shocked what comes out. So when you like sort of analyze, start like deconstruct her and reconstruct your mind, your understanding, it was huge. So then I never like give up with her. And then when I came to United States, this is another issue that we actually signed a peace petition, and there was our wonderful president right now, he just called us traitors and so on. So we were dismissed, and then we ended up in different countries. I was in the United States. And then after a while, when I wanted to work on her, I got scholarship from Harvard. So I'm so grateful to Harvard. For 1 year I didn't teach, so I could write on her. Anyway, so when I started to work with her, so was because I didn't have any kind of information about goddess issues. I know something like sacred with her, but then I started to what can we really call her a goddess? What is goddess mean? Goddess, what kind of qualities we attach to the goddess? And then I started to read, yes, was really amazing things coming. And I was so surprised because the goddess qualities were like pieces there and here, but they didn't really, maybe they didn't need to do that. And what does it mean to be goddess? What kind of qualities goddess should have? And I realized that because duality was one of the most important quality for goddesses, dualism. And then like dualism means that the goddesses are loved, but at the same fear. So that's mean like another duality, like fear and love. And because the fear was for death, because they had ability of killing too, but the love, because they were mother, they were like symbol of fertility. So there was love. And so, and also the cycle of it, everything that related to the goddess was so unique. And then I started to continue, of course. This is Kurdistan, if anyone knows. So the land of Kurds are divided between 4 countries right now. And also Armenia, maybe 5, like Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Iran. So, okay, let's go. So I would like to talk about, you saw her image and there is a myth attached to her. And also the myth is about like a young boy who's, there are like several versions of it, but I will just say the structure of it. The young boy whose father died has an old mother, and then there is no one to like take care of them, and he tried to go and cut the wood and sell wood and then earn some money in order to survive. So he do that, and then one day he goes to the forest again, and there's a storm, so he just ran into as a cave to wait until the storm has gone. And while waiting there, he just like digging on the ground of the cave without any aim, and then suddenly he realized there's a like flat stone. And when he lifts up, he sees that like something like full of a jar full of something. And in some versions, he has his 2 friends with him, someone that he goes and calls them. Anyway, they're like at least 3 people right now. And then they find out that it's like full of the honey. And then they dig honey and then sell and until finished, because a huge jar. And then one of them has to go down and then to clean up the rest because they could not do from distance. And he goes down, and when he finished, his 2 friends like decide to leave him there. And then because instead of sharing half with him, because he found that half is his, and to take all rest. So, and then they leave him, they put the lid on and then just leave there, and then telling his mother he was eaten by a wolf. So anyway, he's there, and then suddenly he saw that scorpion like coming in a crack. And then he kills the scorpion and then just like widen these cracks and then goes the other side. And find out there's a huge like garden, beautiful garden. And so he goes there and then just sleep there. And suddenly he wakes up there like he was surrounded by lots of snakes. And then he just scared to death. And they say, okay, don't worry. And we are not going to harm you. And they take him to a beautiful half snake, half woman, who's their Shah. So the Shah means now the Iran using, but I am arguing is not like a symbol of king, it's like sacred symbol, the title. So anyway, she says, okay, don't worry, you are not going to be harmed, but you cannot go back. Because anyone who saw me, no, if the human being finds out where I am, they will harm me and my people. So you cannot go back, but you can live forever with us, no problem. And he accepts, anyway, he lives there, but in the meantime, he gets homesick. So he wants to go back. And I think in some version they said because she was in love with him, and some doesn't say, but she lets him to go back on a condition, says, you should not bath in public, in hammams. So he promises he goes back, and two snakes takes him to the cave again. He goes back to his mother. And then because if anyone who saw Shâmaran and his body touches water, and then there will be like patterns. And so they will find out who saw her. And in order to avoid like this kind of stuff, he takes his mom in some version, like goes to the forest and live in a cave or something. But anyway, in the meantime, when the king of the countries, in some version, daughter of him, so there's fatally ill, the only cure is Shâmaran's body, flesh, sometimes her blood. So they're looking for a person who actually saw her and then can find her where she's about. And then they will take all the people to the hammams, force them to bath, and in order to find her, so nobody can find her. Anyway, someone says, oh, there's someone living in a like a remote place with his mom, maybe his, and then they will take him and to the hammam, and his body, of course, they find it out and force him to show her. Of course, he doesn't do voluntarily, but he remembers that Shâmaran told him, if anything that related going to take your life, in that case, you can show my place. And he takes that. On the way back, she tells him that there will be 3 broth from her body. He should just drink the white one. So like green, yellow, and white one. So anyway, and she tells him that if they ask you to kill me, say, no, I'm not going to kill her. I found that you kill her. So these are like key things to him. Anyway, they take her to the palace and they ask him to kill. He refuses, and they boil her body, and 3 like blood comes out. And there's a like vizier who's keen to get the power, kill the king also. And so anyway, in a kind of trick, he gets the white one because the vizier know that the green one is killing. So trying to give him the green broth, but in some kind of like things happens, and in the end he drinks the white one. The green one goes to the vizier, and the other yellow one goes to the king or his daughter, and they will like heal. And vizier dies, and he become like a man who has all like knowledgeable man, mostly the healing knowledge. Anyway, this is the myth. And so when I started to work on book, so what does it mean? and how, because these are kind of like symbolic language. Myths are, because luckily I have this image as well. So I try to like use the construction and comparatively also checking with the culture as well, because without culture, this is a kind of symbolic language that only a culture, members of a culture can be literate of it. So therefore, I was like checking with the culture also comparative mythology, so to use to the concept. I have 5 minutes. Oh my God. Okay. So I realized that because the whole mother issue, the goddess, she was a mother goddess, mother earth goddess, and her body was actually considered as her body, the whole earth, and the cave actually was used as her womb. So the boy was there, and then you see that this jar going down is like limbical, this between the navel and to the womb of her, and just going down, and it's a kind of like the seed symbol in this boy in this jar is a kind of like shell of the seed and goes down, because killing the scorpion in this faith that Zoroastrianism also using, because in my idea Zoroastrianism also came from the same source, but Zoroastrianism is a kind of patriarchal interpretation of it. So therefore, the killing scorpion is like is a symbol of the fertility, the killing like tangier with the fertility. So when killing the scorpion, he was saved as a seed and then went out the other side and then come back here. So this is actually, I found that the whole issue was on that issue, like a circle going, dying and coming back, burn, death and birth, then death and birth. Then I realized that the religion I belong to actually Alevism, that although they more than 1,000 years, they're trying to force to make a kind of sect of Islam, because nothing can do with Islam. So they cannot, there's like a kind of huge literature come out that doesn't make any sense, because you cannot put all these like very old and very strong, very powerful faith to put into Islam, which is a like totally opposite religion faith at all. So, and then because when I realized the Alevism is, Alevi community are patriarchal, because that is a fact. But the religion itself is not. Because, for instance, it doesn't reference any gender at all. For instance, do not address women and men and so on, because this called John. John means the body, like some. So, and then the whole issue, nobody can make any kind of like discrimination between female and male. But actually the main concept of the ritual actually conquered by male, but the religion itself, they cannot do that. So therefore, and I will go to this because there are like terms. Khade means the God right now, but for me now, I realized it wasn't God. It's like androgyne, because in this faith, as we saw in the image, there is a male and female together. Actually, this separation is a very late construction, is in like 3000 BC something, and then turns into human forms, and then become male. Then they start like consort or parents, or like son, daughter and brother, brother and sister, and so on. But in them become like male God. So in Kurdish still we do have these terms. For instance, Khade, God means the giving from itself. It's a kind of like a term for the giving birth. So the God is female, sort of giving birth. And then we have like Khweza means again, giving birth from itself, but used for water and animal. So you see there's like a lots of connection from giving itself. I think Huesa was later construction in order to make distinction between people and animal, that there's a hierarchy or human hierarchy took over. So the haq is actually the body of the whole universe in understanding of the Alevi faith. So you like live 1,000 times, like circle, and then 1,001, you go to the main like whole body, haq, which is actually is like earth. So, and then this is, for instance, in the city I come from, that's the only city that Alevi faith is majority. You see, this is the symbol of this mountain that where people go and ask for actually fertility, all these other things. So when I was studying in my PhD, I said like, yeah, I nearly thought, why this mountain? Because it's not huge, it's not, why they choose that? Why this is so important? And then from one of the pictures, I saw that it's like, you see like a woman like lying down on her bed, and this is that how they found it. So this is actually the imagination of people like considering her as a goddess. So what they actually going to ask for. So this is there's a cave, and actually people go there and worship, and so asking for the fertility. And this is actually a symbol of goddessship. You see the horns, so a symbol of the also goddess, mother goddess. And you see they like sacrifice animal and they keep their horns over there. So I will stop here, and I will thank you so much for listening to me, and I will be happy to address your question if you have any. Thank you so much.
Sponsored by the Program for the Evolution of Spirituality.
Copyright 2023, President and Fellows of Harvard College.